Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and stay updated with more content like this. I'm Emma Larson, 31 years young. If I had to sum myself up in one line, it'd be this. I breathe stories. Novels, academic journals, memoirs, even user manuals. I can get lost in their pages for hours. Some might call it dull, but to me it's lifeblood. I'm a technical writer at a tech firm. It's not flashy, but I adore it. Untangling knotty, intricate concepts and shaping them into clear, digestible prose feels like cracking a code daily. My boyfriend, Leo, is 29. We've been a couple for nearly 3 years, sharing a home for the past year and a half. On the surface, we seemed like a dream team. Him chasing a master's in public health management, driven and focused. Me, steady and encouraging, with a solid career already in place. When we first got together, he loved my brainy side. He'd grin at the way I always had a book tucked under my arm, like it was an extension of me. But somewhere along the line, my passion turned into his crutch. For the last 8 months, I've been his unofficial thesis aide. Night after night, post-work, I'd sit beside him, breaking down journal articles, crafting research outlines, digging up peer-reviewed papers, shaping arguments, and even guiding him through statistical models he should have grasped ages ago. If you tallied it up, I probably sank 200 hours into his project. At first, I didn't mind. That's love, right? You lift each other up. But 2 weeks ago, everything changed. We were at Mia's engagement party, Leo's good friend. A group was chatting about hobbies, and someone brought up a new bookstore opening downtown. My heart skipped. I started raving about a biography I was hooked on, The Life of Jonas Salk, the polio vaccine pioneer. I didn't see Leo's face tighten. Then, out of the blue, he let out a loud chuckle, loud enough for all to hear. Emma's always reading. Honestly, it's kind of geeky and off-putting. The room went still. My face burned, but I kept my composure. Mia, bless her, tried to shift the topic fast, but the wound was already cut. In that heavy silence, every glance felt like pity, not admiration. I gave a tight smile and said, noted. The car ride home was tense until I spoke up. That was rough, Leo. He rolled his eyes. Oh, relax. It was just a joke. A joke is calling me quirky, not saying I'm unattractive in front of your friends. God. Emma, you know what I meant. You can go overboard with the book stuff. People think you're showing off. So my passions embarrass you. His voice sharpened. That's not what I said. Not everything needs to be a big debate. This is what I'm talking about. You overthink everything. I turned to the window, hiding the tears pricking my eyes. But a realization was forming. That night, when he pushed a stack of messy methodology pages across the table and asked me to sharpen it up, I gave a soft smile. Sorry, I said quietly. I'm tied up tonight. You'll manage. That's when my new rule kicked in. No more late-night edits. No more chasing down obscure studies. No more hand-holding through concepts he should already know. If my passion was geeky and off-putting, he could survive without it. He didn't realize it yet. The next morning, Leo slid a draft of his literature review across the table, his pen tapping nervously. Emma, can you just polish this for me? His tone was light, but I sensed the expectation. I sipped my coffee. Sorry, Leo. I've got my own deadlines. You'll figure it out. His eyebrows shot up. It was the first time I'd said no. He didn't push, just stared like I'd spoken in code. By the third refusal, his tone shifted. Come on, babe, you're great at this. Just a quick read. I flashed the same polite smile from Mia's party. Sorry. Too busy being geeky and off-putting over here. The words landed like a punch. For a week, he tried to win me back. Burnt my favorite pasta. Wore cologne he hadn't touched in months. Even brought home flowers with the price tag still on. I accepted it all politely. But when he inevitably asked, can you just check this section, my answer stayed firm. No, I'm busy. By week 2, his patience frayed. You're sabotaging me, he snapped one night, looming over me as I read in bed. I looked up from my book. Sabotage? I'm just not doing your work anymore. You know I struggle with the stats. You're better at it. Maybe you should have thought of that before mocking the one person helping you. He went quiet, fist tightening, then loosening. That Friday, he had his study group over. I stayed in the living room, curled up with my book, pretending not to eavesdrop. For the statistical analysis, I need to show how rural hospital closures tie to mortality rates, Leo said loudly from the dining room. Run a regression, a classmate suggested. Sure, but how do I handle confounding variables? Leo pressed. Silence. A girl named Zoe chimed in. Maybe look at existing studies. I have the studies, Leo snapped. I just don't know how to make sense of them. Another pause. Then a guy cleared his throat. Isn't your girlfriend great at this? Where is she? Leo's voice flattened. She's been difficult lately. I stood, walked past the dining room to grab water. The room went quiet. Leo's eyes flicked to me, trapped. Hey, Emma, one of them said cautiously. Quick question, what's the simplest way to adjust for? I cut him off with a smile. Sorry, can't help. Leo thinks academic talk is geeky and unattractive. I'm working on being less of that. The silence was golden. Zoe stifled a grin. Leo's face turned crimson. I returned to the couch, opened my book, and let the quiet linger. After they left, Leo stormed in. Do you know how embarrassing that was? I didn't look up. Now you know how I felt at Mia's party. That was different. This is your career. That was my dignity. I met his eyes, calm and cold. Your career is your responsibility. Leo, not mine. For the first time, he looked at me like I was a stranger, not a partner or even an adversary. I realized we might already be that. By week 3, Leo's charm offensive fizzled and guilt took over. One night, as I chopped onions in the kitchen, he hovered in the doorway. Emma, do you even care if I fail? 3 years of my life gone. Is that what you want on your conscience? I set the knife down, turned to him. No, Leo. I want respect. That's all I've ever wanted. He scoffed. Respect? You're making a mountain out of one dumb joke. One dumb joke that humiliated me in front of our friends. You tore me down, then expected me to keep propping you up. His mouth opened, then shut. He had no response. 2 days later, I saw his Instagram post, a black and white shot of his desk, books stacked high, captioned, When the one you love leaves you in your darkest moment, was it ever love at all? Comments flooded in. Stay strong, Leo. If she can't stand by you, she's not worth it. Real love doesn't quit. My phone buzzed all day. Mia texted, Emma, what's going on? Leo says you're sabotaging his thesis. I laughed, but it was empty. No, Mia. I just stopped writing it for him. Silence. Then Leo escalated. One Thursday, I came home to find Dr. Bennett, his thesis advisor, on our couch, stiff and formal, with Leo smirking beside him. Emma, Leo said, I told Dr. Bennett how much you've helped me. He thought you might guide me again. Ambush. Dr. Bennett cleared his throat. Ms. Larson. Leo says you're skilled in research methodology. I am. Would you consider reviewing his work? Not writing it, just offering guidance. I looked at Leo, his faint smile screaming checkmate. With respect, Dr. Bennett, I said evenly, isn't a thesis meant to reflect the student's own understanding? Yes, but collaboration is common. Has Leo told you why I stopped collaborating? Leo's head whipped toward me. That's personal. I held Dr. Bennett's gaze. He publicly called me geeky and unattractive in front of friends while depending on those same traits to get him through grad school. Silence. Dr. Bennett's eyebrows rose. He turned to Leo. Is that true? Leo stammered. It was taken out of context. There's no context, I said softly, where humiliation and exploitation belong in a partnership. The room felt fragile. Dr. Bennett stood, uneasy. Leo, I think you need to complete your thesis on your own. I'll be reviewing your work closely. Leo's smirk vanished. He looked exposed. After Dr. Bennett left, Leo turned on me. You just made me look like a fraud. No, I said, voice steady. You did that yourself. You didn't want a partner, Leo. You wanted a ghostwriter who doubled as your girlfriend. He flinched, emotions flashing, anger, shame, desperation. The fight was far from over. Early one Saturday, a knock woke me. Still in my robe, I opened the door to find Leo's parents, Victor and Clara, standing there like judges. Clara's voice was syrupy. Emma, we've always seen you as family. That was the first red flag. Sweet words always precede demands. Thank you, I said neutrally. What's this about? They stepped inside, uninvited. Leo trailed behind, eyes down. Leo says you've pulled your support at a crucial time, Victor said firmly. His future is on the line. You've been helping him. Why stop now? I crossed my arms. Because respect goes both ways. He humiliated me publicly, then expected me to keep working for free. Clara reached for my hand. Sweetheart, Leo's under so much stress. He says things he doesn't mean. I gently pulled back. Stress doesn't justify cruelty, and cruelty doesn't entitle him to my work. Victor sighed, as if I were being childish, then opened his checkbook on the coffee table. What's your price to help him finish? I almost laughed. Then I did, sharp and hollow. You're trying to pay me to do your son's thesis. It's not like that, Victor protested. It's exactly like that. And the answer is no for any price. Leo muttered, Dad, I told you not to. Your future is worth more than pride, Victor snapped. Then it hit me. This isn't new, is it? I said quietly, staring at Leo. You've always had someone paving the way. Tutors in undergrad? Paid help? Who else have you leaned on? Leo's jaw clenched. Silence. Clara stammered, That's not relevant. It's entirely relevant. It explains why you can't stand on your own now. Leo's face burned, not with guilt, but fury. He stormed out. His parents stayed, Victor muttering about pride, Clara giving me a disappointed look, as if I were letting their son down. When they left, the house felt heavy, like the stench of decay in a once solid home. That night, I overheard Leo on the phone with Clara, voice shaking. She's emotionally abusive, Mom. Controlling. She doesn't care if I fail. My hands trembled as I washed dishes. Abusive. That was his story now. He wasn't just rewriting his thesis, he was rewriting us. Leo's desperation sharpened. A week later, I noticed a $600 charge on our joint credit card, tutoring services. I didn't confront him. I screenshotted it, saved it. Proof matters. At night, I heard him with the tutor, a young grad student, patiently explaining regression basics. Leo's tone was brittle, resentful, just like it used to be with me before I stopped taking his hits. But the irony, he still wasn't learning. He wanted quick fixes, not knowledge. Then came the breakdown. One evening, I came home to find him on the floor, his laptop smashed against the table leg, screen fractured. It's gone, he muttered, eyes red and wild. Everything. 3 weeks of work. I set my bag down. Did you back it up? He shook his head, like a kid caught in a lie. Something sharp stirred in me. I walked to my desk, pulled out a USB drive, and placed it before him. Lucky for you. I backed up your files a couple weeks ago. His relief was frantic. He plugged it in, opened the folders, then froze. This is from 2 weeks ago. I've done so much since. I leaned against the doorframe. Then you should have backed it up. His face paled. The tutor's work, it's gone. Guess you'll have to write it yourself, I said, voice soft but edged, tilting my head with that same cold smile from Mia's party. New idea, huh? Silence. Then he cracked. His shoulders shook, hands fumbling with broken files, muttering, cursing, near tears. That night, I heard him sobbing in the shower. The sound didn't gut me like it once would have. It rang empty, like a man grieving not just his thesis, but the crumbling of the facade he built. The collapse sped up. He tried tears. Emma, please, I'm going to fail. Everything I've worked for. You mean everything I worked for, I corrected. He tried threats. If I fail, I'll lose my job offer. We'll have to break up. Is that what you want? I shrugged. That's your call, Leo, not mine. Finally, he tried promises, vows of change, appreciation, a future where he'd value me. But they rang false. Once you've been used like a tool, you can't unhear the laughter of the person who wielded you while breaking you. The thesis deadline loomed, a storm cloud growing darker daily. I sat in its calm center, watching him unravel. On deadline night, Leo hunched at the dining table, surrounded by empty coffee mugs, fingers jerking over the keyboard like frayed wires. At 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the cutoff, he hit submit. His shoulders slumped, a mix of exhaustion and fear. His face was ashen like he already knew. "It's trash," he whispered to no one. "Complete trash." I said nothing from the doorway. There was nothing to say. A week later, his email pinged. He stared at the screen, then shoved his phone at me, as if I could rewrite the words. Fail. 47%. Dr. Bennett's comments were brutal. Fundamental errors in statistical methodology. Literature review lacks key sources. Data analysis flawed. Conclusions unsupported. The final blow. I'm concerned about the sharp drop in quality from earlier submissions. Schedule a meeting to discuss academic integrity. Translation. He suspects you didn't do the earlier work. Leo's face went white. He thinks I cheated, he whispered. I stayed silent, letting the truth settle like dust. The fallout was quick. His job offer, bragged about for months, was rescinded. No degree, no job, just an empty space where his future should have been. His parents called, furious. "You could have stopped this, Emma," Clara wept. "No," I said, voice even. "Leo could have stopped this. By respecting me, by doing his own work, by being a partner, not a leech." Victor tried reasoning. "Do you realize what you've cost him?" "Words cost him," I said. "The ones that called me geeky and unattractive. The ones that mocked me while feeding off me. Words have power, Victor. He's paying for his now." Silence. The line cut off. That evening, Leo started packing. No drama, just quiet boxes, tape, and rustling. "I'm moving back with my parents," he muttered, avoiding my gaze. "Retaking the course. Another semester. More loans." "Okay," I said simply. He paused, searching my face for regret, pity, anything. "You really don't care," he said at last. I set my book down, met his eyes with steady resolve. "I cared for 2.5 years, Leo." You ended that with one sentence at a party. He nodded, barely, then sealed the last box. When the door shut behind him, the apartment seemed to sigh. For the first time in months, I could breathe. I wasn't grieving. I was free. After Leo left, the silence was different, not oppressive, but light, clean, like the walls had been waiting for his exit. For the first time in years, I made tea, sank into the couch, and read without guilt. No sighs, no drafts pushed my way, no unspoken demands to carry his weight. Just words, mine alone. 2 weeks later, I joined a book club at the new downtown bookstore, the one that sparked the fight at Mia's party. The irony wasn't lost on me. At the first meeting, I sat with strangers who didn't smirk when I got excited about a passage, or roll their eyes when I unpacked a theme. They listened, engaged. A woman named Lena, a philosophy PhD student, asked me afterward for book recommendations on simplifying complex ideas. We grabbed coffee the next day, then again a week later. I wasn't diving into anything new. My heart still carried scars, but there was something restorative in talking to someone who saw my passion as a strength, not a flaw to exploit or mock. Leo texted once more. "I know you probably hate me, but you were right. I didn't value what you gave me until it was gone. I'm sorry for everything." I stared at the message, then set my phone down. No reply. Some stories don't need a sequel. I heard through friends that he was retaking the thesis course. His parents were footing the bill again, but now they made him get a part-time retail job to cover expenses. He was drained, bitter, still hunting for shortcuts in a system that no longer bent for him. Meanwhile, I was flourishing quietly. People sometimes ask if I feel guilty, if I feel cold for not stepping in, for not softening his fall. I don't. Love isn't servitude. Respect isn't negotiable. And intelligence isn't something to ridicule when it challenges your ego, then exploit when it suits your goals. The books I cherish, the ideas I live for, they're not geeky or off-putting. They're gateways to history, humanity, and potential. I've learned that when someone tries to shutter those gateways, tries to shame you for what defines you, you don't plead for them to see your value. You turn the page, close the book, and walk away. That chapter of my life is done.